Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. Now you may notice that yes, this is a KV-5 in my garage, and yes, this is a Type 59, also in my garage. And the reason for these is that the Blitz fair is almost ended. In 2 days, the Blitz fair will have ended, which means that you better get your tanks at auction within 2 days, or else you're not gonna get them. So of course I picked up the IS-3 Offender. Well, in fact, I could show you the tanks that I actually picked up during the event. So we've got, of course, the Type 62, which I then got the Dragon skin for. So that's fantastic, amazing. I love this thing is actually becoming one of my favorite Tier 7 tanks. It'll never replace the T-23-3 or the Helsing. In just pure, oh my god, this is amazing. Normally it would replace the Tankenstein for why the heck is this derpy thing actually able to kill things and do well if you play it right. But it is a fun little tank to drive around in. So I picked up that, and then I also picked up 3 Tier 8 tanks. The IS-3 Defender, which is a good pickup. Because this really is a very rare thing to see about. And then, of course, the 2 new additions which I collected was this thing, the KV-5 and the Type 59. So, Type 59 I've got on the Verdun Forest, I've got on the Winter Celebrations 2017, and of course Inferno, just because Inferno Type 59, that's cool. But so I was just having a look at the KV-5 here, and I exchanged some gold for credits and I got my equipment set up. But then I had a look in here. I went to have a look at the protection and things, because I just played a game in this thing, the T-34 Independence. Not that I can play it, but it's a fun thing to have. And I saw a comment once which said that the T-34 Independence has actually got better stats than the T-34 in the tech tree. And so I had a look. No, they're both the same. So I thought, how does this stack up against the KV-5? Went in there. Hold on a minute. Why is this bar grayed out? Normally, with a premium tank, for example, the Type 59, the bars are all at maximum. There are no researchable things. However, a couple of premium tanks, such as the Tankenstein, have got a choice of equipment which you can fit, or a choice of guns that you can equip. I have, for example, the have got the 130. Naval gun mounted on the Tankenstein, but you could also have the 105 T5E1 gun. So I had a look. KV-5. So this is the gun that it has as standard. Okay, that's the standard KV-5 gun, the 107 ZIS-6M, 167 pen, 219. What's the second gun here? I didn't know the KV-5 had a gun upgrade. It was 100 XP, so I was like, free XP, that thing. 219 millimeters of average penetration, or 250 with heat. They both have got the same damage, they both have got the same dispersion and basically the same aim time. The only problem with this one is a lower rate of fire. But 219 penetration on a KV-5. This is what everyone has been wanting. Some good penetration on the KV-5. And I originally thought, when the KV-5 came out on Blitz the first time, I originally thought, it's just going to be the KV-5. It's going to have the same gun, the same everything, so I don't really want it. But then at auction I was like, you know what? May as well pick it up. It's not something you see every day on the battlefield in Blitz. Let's go ahead and get the KV-5 and the Type 59. So I got them. Little did I know this gun upgrade was in there. And so now that's just a very long-winded way of me saying, let's do a review on the KV-5. So the KV-5 is, of course, still a Tier 8 Russian premium heavy tank. So let's have a look at the stats here. Protection 69%, depending on your guns, 55% firepower or 19% firepower, and then depending on your gun choice, either 73% shot effectiveness or 84% shot effectiveness, and then 28% maneuverability. So it doesn't have as much HP as the World of Tanks PC version of the KV-5. It only has 1600 HP. Let's have a look at the Tiger 2, for example. That's got 1600 HP. Yeah, the IS-3 Defender, that's got 1550, and the T-34 Independence, that's got 1400. So it doesn't have the huge hit point pool out of the PC KV-5. So that's brought it more in line with other heavies at the same tier, which they brought as a balancing factor for this gun. I'm fairly certain. The armor is still the KV-5, however. 180 front, 150 sides, 140 rear hull armor, and the turret 180, 150, 140. So, yeah, 180 at the front, 150 at the side, 140 at the rear for both of them. And of course, it does still have the good old weak spot of the little turrets at the front and the commander's cupola up the top. And of course, it's still the KV-5, so it's still huge, big, and boxy. So nothing much has changed there. Still weighs 100 tons, but it still has got a 1208 horsepower engine, which means that it still goes at 40 kilometers per hour, which means ramming is still effective in it. So obviously, anything that any KV-5 driver wants the most is to ram things, and while it can still do that, I'm sure you'll be pleased to hear with this beefy engine. Still not great maneuverability, 22.24 traverse speed and a 22.67 degrees per second turret traverse. Still is not very good at all. It still has got the M50D engine, 15% chance of fire and impact, weighs 700 kilograms, 1,200 horsepower, that's a big beefy engine. The suspension is still the KV-5, yeah. The turret is of course still the KV-5, 224.7 meters view range, weighs 21,000 kilograms, but it's a good reliable turret. Now you've got the choice of two guns. We'll start off with the ZIS-6 M107 gun, which is the gun that everyone will be accustomed to using on the KV-5 in PC. So, what's this gun like? Well, it's got the lowest penetration value of any Tier 8 heavy tanks gun. I'm sure everyone will know this by now. 167 penetration is not very good at all. 219 with APCR still isn't great. For example, the Tiger 2 has got... Actually, no. For example, the IS-3 has got more penetration with its standard AP than the KV-5 has with premium APCR. So, yeah, not very good penetration for the tank. 54 high explosive penetration. The average damage is decent. 320 with AP and APCR, 400 with high explosive. 0.37 dispersion, which is not great. 4.8 second aim time with my equipment. Obviously, this is with my equipment. And then... Oh, okay, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Re-equip this gun. So that's the ZIS-6M, and everyone will know this gun by now, so don't need to spend too much time on it. However, this is the gun which I was confused and pleasantly surprised at being able to fit, which is the 107 ZIS-6D 107 gun. So it's got a lower rate of fire, as you can see. Instead of 1.70 rate of fire, it's 6.08. But it has much better penetration, 219 and 250 with APCR as standard and heat as the secondary, similar to other APCR firing guns at this tier, such as the IS-3 Defender's gun, for example. Still retaining 54 high explosive penetration. Average damage still the same, dispersion still the same, slightly higher aim time by 0.1 seconds, so there's nothing really in it, and that is that. And this is the gun that I'm sure everyone will be loading for this tank. I'm sure everyone would be loading this gun because it's just a superior gun, just with a slightly lower rate of fire. So yeah. But it holds 60 rounds of ammunition still. Obviously, it hasn't changed caliber, it's just changed properties. So, still holding 60 shells. And you don't have to carry as much premium ammo as you do with the with the Z6D, because everyone knows that with that terrible penetration you're going to need a lot of APCR. Even though I can make it work with the lower penetration, it is always nice to just have that APCR ammunition. But with this, APR is standard, APCR, sorry, as standard, with 219 pen is still very good, so you won't need to rely on premium as much. As for provisions, you've got standard fuel or improved fuel for +3 or 10% respectively to engine power and turret reverse, activated automatically permanent throughout battle, condensed milk or extra combat rations for +3 or 10% respectively to crew mastery, once again, blah blah blah, restricted to Russian vehicles. And then you've got protective kit, +15% to protection of the crew from injuries, 10% speed and module repair, 20% fire protection, and 10% ammo and fuel tank durability. Once again, blah 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 blah. So there's your provisions. Yes, sort of fairly standard provisions. You can go ahead and fit them if you want. I tend not to, just to save the credits because I'm a cheapskate like that. But you can go ahead bung them on if you want. They're going to be useful. And now we come to the consumables. So the provisions, the consumables even. Anyone that has watched one of my World of Tanks Blitz videos before will know what I'm going to say, but if this is your first time review, hey, welcome aboard. But also you can take a listen to this. So I fitted the standard repair kit, first aid kit, fire extinguisher, loadout, which all have got a cooldown of 90 seconds for multiple uses per battle. But then there are also these other funnies, which people do fit on because they're handy things to have. So you've got the engine power boost, 20% to engine power for 15 seconds with a 75-second cooldown. And then adrenaline, which is 20% load speed, 10% chance of damaging enemy modules, 15-second duration, 75-second cooldown. And then you have this, the multi-purpose restoration pack, which is basically all these things bunged into one. And you may be thinking, why not fit a couple of these on there, or one of these and two of these, because, well, you know, these things are handy to have. Who knows when you need some engine power boost to get up that hill. And that is a valid point. But the reason I do not is because, say you get detract in the open in front of 3 enemy tanks and you need to move. You need to motor on out of there. So you use your multi-purpose restoration pack because you've got one of these, and one of these. So you use your multi-purpose restoration pack, bang, there it is, nice second cooldown, gone. So you've then gone off, you've repaired your track, you've got out of line of fire. 10 seconds later, somebody hits you and it sets you on fire. What do you do? That won't help me. That won't help me. Oh, that'll help me. Oh, no, wait, I still have 80 seconds of cooldown on it, so I'm going to burn, baby, burn. And so that's why I don't use a multi-purpose restoration pack and these two things, amongst other reasons, but that's the main reason for me, because I can repair my track with that, and then the fire will go out with that. So that's why I prefer not to have these things, but to have the 3 regular consumables. As for equipment fit, there's a large choice of equipment fit. Gun rammer and enhanced gun lane drive is going to be a must-have on this tank, because gun rammer for the increased rate of fire, depending on either gun that you use, and the gun lane drive is also going to be needing, no matter what, on any gun whichever gun you fit. And then you've got the vertical stabilizer. Is actually a pretty useful thing to have on the KV-5, because the KV-5 has got one of the best dispersion values on the move of all the Russian heavies. So vertical stabilizer is not a bad idea on this thing. Then you've got the cyclone filter for engine durability. I've got improved vents because we'll get to that in a moment, why I haven't gone with spool liner. But yep, so I've gone improved vents. For plus 5% to all crew skills to just get this immobile tank slightly more mobile. Then you've got the tanks filled with CO2 and the wet ammo rack for plus 50% to ammo or fuel tank durability respectively. Then you've got the enhanced suspension, 30% suspension durability. These all depend on what you feel is more necessary. If you keep getting ammo racked or set on fire, then you can go with them if you want. If you don't want to get detractors often, then you can fit one of them if you want. Camo net, no. Binos and camo net, they sort of go together hand in hand, and I'd say no, because It's a heavy tank. It's not meant to stay still. The KV-5 is very much a breakthrough tank, or it is the way I play it. So those things are not really no. If you really want to improve your view range, then instead of fitting a binos, then you can fit coated optics, plus 10% of view range. Heavy spall liner, plus 15% armor protection from ramming and explosions. It's certainly useful for ramming, but as for explosions, no. Heavy spall liners and spall liners in general are much more effective in World of Tanks PC, to name one, because there's actual artillery in that game, where there isn't in World of Tanks Blitz, and there never will be, which I'm sure is why a lot of people like it. But because there's a lot less high explosive getting fired at you, especially the KV-5, this makes it even more relevant, the explosions thing isn't really needed unless somebody's just firing HE for random reasons. I mean, it's slightly more useful on the KV-5 in Blitz, because the KV-5 you can still ram things, so the 15% armor protection from ramming is going to be helpful. But explosions not so much. So that's why instead of going spall liner, I've gone with vents, which is how I've changed up my PC Blitz loadout for the KV-5. So on PC, this thing is very useful. It's like a godsend to the KV-5, because KV-5 is a big, slow, heavy tank, and artillery loves shooting at that. So spall liner for the KV-5 on PC is very much useful, but on this, not so much. And then finally, you've got the toolbox for plus 25% to field repairs, which is always nice. So that's always a useful thing to just stick on there. But yeah, so that is the KV-5. Is this a good tank? Most certainly. It's a KV-5. Why are you even asking? If you've got yourself one of these things, congratulations. If you don't, you're missing out. It's a KV-5. What more do I have to say? So I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.